Hey everyone! Today we're talking about the ocean sunfish, also known as the Mola Mola. And I'm just going to say it up front. This might be the most pathetic, useless, poorly designed creature in the entire ocean. And that's saying something, because we've covered some rough lives on this channel. But the sunfish? The sunfish is on another level. Imagine being the world's largest bony fish, weighing up to 5,000 pounds, and somehow still being the ocean's biggest joke. You can barely swim. You're covered in parasites. You're so stupid you forget you're a fish. Predators eat you constantly despite your massive size. You lay 300 million eggs because statistically, most of you will die immediately. You're essentially a floating disaster with fins. Let me explain why nature clearly gave up halfway through designing you. Let's start with your body. Because what is happening here? You look like a fish that got cut in half and someone just gave up. You're supposed to have a tail fin. You know, the thing fish use to swim, but instead you have this weird flat pancake thing called a clavus. It's not a tail. It's like evolution looked at you and said, close enough. So you can't swim properly at all. You just sort of flop around. Your top fin and bottom fin wave pathetically, while you drift sideways through the ocean like a massive, confused dinner plate. Your swimming technique is so bad that you're slower than a sea turtle. A sea turtle. Those things are famously slow, and you're losing races to them. And because you can't swim well, you can't escape predators. So despite being massive, literally the size of a car, you get eaten by sea lions, sharks, and orcas constantly. Sea lions have been observed using you as a chew toy. They'll bite you, toss you around for fun, and then just leave because apparently you don't even taste good. You're so large and yet so useless that predators hunt you for sport. Now let's talk about your brain, or lack thereof. You're one of the dumbest fish in the ocean. And I mean that literally. Your brain to body ratio is one of the worst in the animal kingdom. You're so dumb that you'll swim into boats, repeatedly, the same boat, multiple times. You're so dumb that when the water gets slightly too cold, you just stop. You forget how to swim. You float to the surface and lie there sideways like a dead fish. Except you're not dead, you're just that stupid. People will see you floating on your side and think, oh no, there's a dead fish. But no, you're just sunbathing. You do this on purpose. You lie on the surface, completely vulnerable, just vibing. And here's the best part. While you're lying there looking dead, seabirds land on you and start picking at you. And you just let them. You're so spectacularly dumb that you've forgotten. You're supposed to be in the water, actually. Swimming and not being a buffet. Table for seagulls. Oh, and let's talk about parasites. Because you are covered in them, you have more parasites than almost any other fish. We're talking 40 plus. Different species of parasites living on and inside you at any given time. Flatworms, copepods, sea lice. You're basically a floating parasite convention center. They love you. Why? Because you're so slow and pathetic that you can't shake them off. Other fish can outswim parasites or scrub them off on rocks. You just accept your fate. You're so desperate to get rid of parasites that you'll float to the surface and let seabirds pick them off your body. That's actually why you sunbathe. You're hoping birds will eat the parasites. But half the time, the birds just peck at you instead because they can't tell the difference between parasite and fish. And you still don't move because apparently being pecked is better than swimming. You've essentially outsourced your hygiene to seagulls. That's how bad things have gotten. Now let's talk about why you exist in such absurd numbers, despite being terrible at everything. Female sunfish lay up to 300 million eggs. That's not a typo. 300 million. Why so many? Because your survival rate is abysmal. You have to play the numbers game, because most of you die immediately. You start life as a tiny larva, smaller than a grain of rice. You're supposed to grow into a 5,000-pound giant. That's a size increase of about 60 million times your birth weight. For comparison, if a human baby did that, they'd weigh 420 million pounds as an adult. But most of you never make it. You get eaten by basically everything. Tuna, dolphins, sharks, seabirds. Everyone's eating baby sunfish like popcorn. The ones that do survive grow absolutely massive but somehow remain just as useless and vulnerable. You don't gain any new survival skills. You're just a bigger target. And what do you eat with that giant useless body? Jellyfish. Mostly jellyfish. You know what jellyfish are? 95% water. They have almost zero nutritional value. So you have to eat an absolutely absurd amount of jellyfish just to survive. You spend your entire day eating the ocean's equivalent of water crackers with no flavor. And because you're so slow, you can't even hunt fast prey. You're limited to the slowest, most pathetic prey in the ocean. Jellyfish, sea salps, basically jelly tubes, small drifting stuff. You're a 5,000-pound fish with a diet that would make a hummingbird feel sorry for you. Oh, and sometimes you eat plastic bags by accident because you think they're jellyfish. Because of course you do. You're so dumb that you can't tell the difference between food and trash. And the plastic kills you, slowly, painfully, because your digestive system can't process it and you don't realize you should stop eating it. Here's another fun fact. You're terrible at regulating your body temperature. You dive deep to hunt for jellyfish in cold water and your body temperature drops. Way down, you get so cold that you basically become hypothermic. So what do? You swim back to the surface and lie sideways in the sun to warm up. But you can't just do this quickly, oh no. You're so slow that it takes you forever to get back to the surface. By the time you get there, you're basically a frozen fish stick. So you float there completely incapacitated, warming up like a solar panel while predators circle and birds land on you. Other fish solved this problem millions of years ago with better circulation or faster swimming. You chose the become a floating corpse strategy. And let's talk about your relationship with humans. You're so massive and weird looking that when fishermen accidentally catch you in nets, they call you bycatch and just toss you back. You're not even worth keeping. Boats hit you constantly because you're floating on the surface looking dead. You cause navigation hazards just by existing. Divers report that when they approach you, you just stare at them blankly with your mouth open, not moving, just existing in the dumbest possible way. You're the ocean's equivalent of the kid who ate glue in elementary school. So let's recap what it's like being a sunfish. You're the world's largest bony fish but can barely swim. Your tail is a design failure. You're slower than sea turtles. Predators eat you constantly despite your size. Sea lions use you as a chew toy for fun. You're spectacularly stupid. You forget you're a fish. You float sideways on the surface pretending to be dead. You're covered in more parasites than any other fish. You let seabirds land on you and peck at you. You lay 300 million eggs because most of you die immediately. You eat jellyfish, which is basically nutritionless water. You accidentally eat plastic bags thinking they're food. You get hypothermic constantly and have to float like a corpse to warm up. Boats hit you because you look dead. You're the ocean's biggest joke. The sunfish is proof that evolution doesn't always make sense. Sometimes nature just throws something together and says, good enough. And that thing somehow survives by sheer statistical luck. You're not thriving. You're barely existing. You're just there, being pathetic in massive numbers. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed learning about nature's biggest failure, hit that like button and subscribe for more Why It Sucks to Be Yours videos. Next time, why it sucks to be a koala. Spoiler. Your diet is literally poisonous and you're all riddled with chlamydia. Drop a comment. What's your favorite useless ocean creature? The sunfish has competition from sea cucumbers who literally vomit out their organs when scared. See you in the next one, and remember, at least you're not a sunfish.